having a good think about it. It's having a good think about it. It's having a good think about it. Playing ball? Come on now. Hello. We are here.
Hi. Are you talking to me?
Apparently so.
Oh,
Why
lovely.
my
Hello.
picture seems to have suddenly gone a bit blurry, which is a bit weird. Because it was absolutely crystal clear
Oh.
before I started the stream.
Maybe YouTube's got a new algorithm that take out the uggers and replace them with pixels.
I mean, okay. Why are you still
Could be a
visible?
case.
Good evening, everyone!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 145 of Sit, Talk, and Hobby with myself, Dom, and
I'm still Tom.
chap is Tom. So if you're new to this, and hopefully we still get a couple of new people,
No,
what we do, we sit here, we do some hobby, and talk all sorts of stuff going on.
Lots of stuff.
And we encourage you to do exactly the same. So, Tom, what are you drinking tonight? And
Well,
what
drinking's a bit
tonight?
boring. It's the old H2O.
Yep.
So I assume we're out of sync tonight.
Well, I've got a cup of tea.
Oh, okay. We're not too bad. You've added some flavour to the water. That's what you've done. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And I've because I finished my Terminators, which I promise I'll do a video on because I've realised I've got a lot of backlog to do videos on, so I could probably actually come up with about 3 months worth of content if I just did some filming. However, I've gone on a complete flip side here. I'm now working on some Flamers of Zinch. They're not. I haven't decided what I'm doing with them. I'm playing around with colours at the moment. If Gavin actually is in chat, hello Gavin. These are the ones I think I bought off you a little while ago, which I found in a box. And Dom suggested the other week that I should take a break from the Templars while I waited for models to turn up, and I said that's a very good idea. I'll try some Chaos. So I am just playing around with colours on them really to see what I like. I'm not quite sold on the pinky purple at the moment, so I might try a kind of a bluey one as well. They're all base coated blue because I wanted that kind of colour as the base. So that's me. How about you?
I am working on something very different. So I have recorded a video, guys. I've said to Tom, I've recorded a video. Just got to upload it and do some editing. So that's positive. However, I am working on something completely different tonight, Tom.
Oh.
Not 40k.
What? Oh, I haven't seen them for a while. They've only been sat on your bench for
month, maybe a year.
No, I think it's more than year. I think it's years now. I think we can say years.
So I was I just want to do something a bit different, and
yeah.
I was like, well, I'll do them because they're just sitting there, and I fancy just changing it up. So I thought I'd do some Imperialis stuff. So I got my bombers.
Nice.
And my fighters, and at some point also I do have my Titan. So yeah, I was like, I'll give it a go. So it's going to be completely different paint schemes.
Nice.
Titan's going to be red because it's wordberry. My guard stuff is going to be green and red. So it's going to be like the Slaughterers of Silence, my traitor guard. And I was like, oh, let's try it. Let's do something a bit different. So yes, that's what I'm up to.
Solid.
What's everyone in the chat working on? Oh, and I'm drinking tea.
Is Imperialis actually still a going concern as a game, or are they kind of
What, Legion Imperialis?
Oh, with a plain version of it, or is it all linked into that now?
It's all linked in together now. I think.
Yeah.
I think you can play it separately. So Titanicus, you can play it separately. However, it's kind of like you might as well play with all the toys.
Well, I was going to say I probably would as well. I wouldn't go for an individual. I'd probably just start dipping in.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see actually, Tom, wouldn't it? If you played both. Like, I think I would imagine this is really from not doing any research. Titanicus is more in depth for your Titan stuff.
So I would 100% say so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then your other stuff's not so detailed, etc. So that would be my assumption.
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying a very odd paint here as well because I've never tried an edge paint before.
Okay.
It's very. Thin.
Yeah. What hobbies everyone doing? Very thin.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, it's Fulgrim Pink. Have you ever tried an edge paint before?
Probably.
Yeah, because obviously.
Probably.
Like a...
Yeah. What's the layer
I didn't even
one?
know I had one. I just picked it up and went, oh, I've got an edge. I must have bought it when I was doing something colourful. I don't know what the hell it was, though, because pink is definitely not in my normal repertoire. Oh, it did actually work quite nicely on that, though. Maybe we should try this. Yeah, so what we got here? We've got a rules liar who's told us what he's having tonight. He's got a protein shake and a nutritional shake this evening. Very good. Theory crafting some lists. I have 2 games this week. Cool. And he played his first game with Legion Imperialis this week, and it was very fun. Really enjoyed it. Aeronautica. He does actually say also Aeronautica still technically exists, but all the Xeno factions have been removed.
Oh.
Well, that would tie up with the way they do the Legion Imperialis, wouldn't it? Because they don't have Xenos in that at all, do they?
No, because I think you in Aeronautica you had Tau, and obviously in 30k Tau aren't a thing.
No.
I don't think they ever had Tyranids, did they? That's a shame. Yeah, so fair enough.
There we go. Answers that question partially, so this kind of works. This kind of works. Bit too pink though. We shall. Quite nice on the edges though. I suppose that's why it's edge paint.
There we go. There we go. It's in the name.
It's a very hot pink. It's definitely something I would imagine Slanesh worshippers to use. So Gavin is making some Outriders. Interesting.
Nice, nice.
Now, is that Outriders from Marines, or is that Outriders from, I don't know, some other cultish thing? Do they have Outriders in there?
Outriders?
Can you see the cults? No, I can't remember. It must be Marines.
Oh, yeah, what have they got? What are bikes called in it?
But I assume because I saw some White Scar stuff happening from the same individual, it's probably related to Marines.
Yeah, that'd be very cool if it is. Bit of a difference.
Try out those Marines. Everyone loves Marines, even Dom secretly does.
Well, I did buy a Space Marine Terminator the other day, didn't I? So...
I know, but there's something happened to that Terminator which was horrendous, but also cool.
I was tempted, to be honest. I was tempted to get another copy of that magazine
and do a proper one.
$2.99 and just do because I kind of like the after. And I was like, I could do a before and after. Like, I've already taken a picture of before.
The fall of the.
I thought it'd be quite nice to paint him up and then see him like the
heretical version.
Discovered chaos. Yeah,
I've discovered chaos. He went on a self enlightenment.
Yeah, he did some meditation and he worked out. Ooh, chaos is cool.
There comes a point in your hobby lifetime you eventually collect Marines again. Yeah, that's fair enough. Or just don't stop it. I think that's what I did. I just carried on.
Continue it. Yeah,
it just worked. Captain Jack was also he's painting some Perry miniature knights, which I assume is for the competition entry, which will be very cool to see when you finish them. And I hope everyone else has got something on the cards for that. I'm looking forward to seeing all your work soon, because it's only a couple more weeks left for that now. I think. I think that's right. Yeah, I think it was end of September. Or it was. I think it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not too far off. So yeah, definitely keep up the good work on all that, guys. I did. Oh, I tell you what else I did. I caught up on Warhammer Plus the other day, so managed to.
Ah, nice. Oh, what do you think? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So,
first one was the marine-based gene seed recovery one.
The Ultramarine and the Salamander.
Salamander, yes.
So yeah, they've got to go and get their gene seed, the cheeky Necrons.
I am going to go with my usual gripe and say it was too short.
Okay.
Because I still think 18 minutes is not enough to convey a story that they're trying to actually put across, I suppose. I understand that sort of tithes. They're obviously focusing, especially if you take the second episode in that similar vein. They're talking about obviously these collections that happened across the Imperium for various requirements. Obviously, I think that's where they're going with the series. I'd say. I hope everyone's watched it or doesn't mind us talking about it, by the way, because we're probably going to warn you that there might be a couple of spoilers in here, because we can't talk about all of this without actually giving away some of the content of the story.
Yeah, I think it's quite important that we do spoilers in this rather than beat around the bush and
yes,
not
yeah,
mention particular things.
yeah, quite. Um, so yeah, and I think it was. I think the reason I go with the time thing, I thought it was quite slow to get going, and the fight scenes seemed very. I'm not going to say rushed, but very condensed into very small sections of action. Which I didn't. I don't know. The pacing just seemed a bit off to me personally. I didn't mind it. It just was. It just seemed a bit. Yeah, and it was essentially two Marines going almost into this heart of a bloody tomb of Necrons to recover Gene Seed. Yeah, and it was like, oh, there's only 5 of them. I said, I'm pretty sure there's a few more in there, guys. Come on, you're not that stupid. And there's 2 of you, and one of you has an arm missing.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit disrespectful because basically in the episode, in that particular, they just hack their way through the Necrons.
Yes,
and then that tiny little frag grenade does a lot of damage.
Yes,
and blows up loads of stuff. You're like, I'm pretty sure frag grenades aren't that cool. Or maybe use a grenade stratagem and did
mortal wounds to all the thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
for anyone who has watched it, I'd like to know your thoughts on it. But ultimately, I think the idea for the story was really cool, but I think the execution was a bit off. I think I don't think that they tend to send out 2-man squads
No,
into
I
a
think
known.
it was like a last ditch effort,
Yes.
wasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But out of 5, what would you give it?
I'll give it a 3.5
3.5.
because the animation was pretty cool. I can't deny that. It was very nicely. It was crisp. It was pretty slick. It looked good. I think it was more the. I think there's more the content execution that let it down. Personally.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah. No, your points are extremely valid because a lot of it I completely agree with. I quite like the interaction between the dialogue between the salamander and the ultramarine, where
that
they were
was good.
kind of like going off their differences.
When they had especially when they had the helmet off. That was good.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch because that kind of puts a bit of, I suppose, humanity into them, if that makes sense. Because I know that was the whole goal of that particular conversation, to show the difference between those chapters' kind of traits. Because obviously salamanders are very into protecting the people that they come and whereas ultramarines are probably a bit more pragmatic about the whole thing.
They're thinking the bigger picture, aren't they?
Yeah, and also at the end of the day, it was an apothecary. His duty was to do a particular job, and he was trying to do that job, and that was it. That was really his goal. It wasn't anything to do with the previous thing. So yeah, sorry, carry on. I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, I think generally, actually, it's a nice. I think it's a nice little benchmark as well, because with this episode and the following episode, it does seem generally that Games Workshop has got, or the animation team have got, a very confident with them showing faces.
Yes.
And because you remember the first couple, it was like, whoa.
Angels of Death.
Let's not show faces.
Angels of Death.
Let's keep the faces to a minimum.
Yeah, only actual humans will be shown. I quite liked Angels of Death personally, but I much preferred it when it was the fully stitched together version as a movie short. It worked. Yeah, the whole episodic releasing, it didn't work for it. And this is what I keep saying about all their content. They keep doing these little things when actually I think their money's in. I think they would be better off or better served by actually taking things and going to the 45 to an hour mark. 45 minutes to an hour mark, and getting a nice flow to the story. And even if you release 2 of those back to back, that would probably work better than these 18-minute things, which are normally also including 2 to 3 minutes of credits or intro, because obviously their intros are just insane. They always do some kind of. Well, the ties intro's a good example actually, because it's like you get this big flashy ties and all this, and by the time that's finished, you've lost another minute of what actually is the meat of the product. So. So, and then
I think generally the animation style across the board now.
Yes.
Like even going back to the Iron Warrior one, I was like, yeah, the quality's definitely there. However, like you said, it's so short. But when you watch like the Angels of Death, the Blood Angel one, because they've tied it all together, you can watch it in one sitting.
And that's nice. And it's a good watch.
Yeah, rather than Yeah, absolutely. So the second episode.
Yes.
The second. Do you want to tell us the plot of the second one?
It was called The Harvest, and obviously this is about the black ships. I knew that straight away because you could tell that was there, and so it's about, you know, obviously the tithe of the tithe of the psychers that have to be taken to the throne world to make sure that the emperor stays alive or in
Yeah.
power, which is basically taking. So, and in this particular case, they were showing that even if a planet is under extreme threat of a hive Tyranid invasion, that they are more than
Yep.
happy to go in there and still get everything off that, and then also exterminate us the world, while
Yeah. Do what they need to do.
while giving a guise of we, you know, a guise of we're trying to protect the psychers when actually, yeah, they knew at the end. Now we're screwed.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think the bit that everyone's talking about, and you know what I'm going to go here, is the fact that it was a female custode as one of the centralized characters. There you go.
Oh, whoa.
That's what. No, I have seen a fair bit of this online last few days.
Whoa. I was going to. So, Tom, I was going to put something on our Black Toad Facebook page in relation to first female-led, because it was a female-led episode, because the psychers were female,
Sister Silence,
Sister Silence, a
and
custode,
the RBTs. Yeah,
the
whatever they were. I'm not actually quite sure what they were, but they must have been designated because they had like a psychic staff thing that they could just go, which I thought was quite funny.
And I was like, but then I thought, why should it be a thing? Like, it shouldn't even worth mentioning. So I just deleted it. I was like, it's not even worth it.
No, and ultimately, I honestly don't really care that much about it. If I'm really honest, you know, at the end of the day, it's not my IP. You know, I don't. You know, ultimately, if they want to, do that narrative and play that's fine, because ultimately, I mean, thank God they didn't do it to a Space Marine chapter, because I think that would have been, I think you would have seen like a meltdown to end all meltdowns online.
Definitely.
It was like you could almost think when obviously she called the commander of the chapter up, and you think, oh no, hang on a minute, is he going to take? No, we're okay.
We're expecting the White Templars to be a lady.
Yeah. And ultimately, just going back to the whole thing, is the fact that they've said out like publicly now that obviously that from the beginning there has always been female custodes. Fair enough. If that's the way it rolls, I will. That's the decision they've made with that particular faction. And to be fair, it wasn't. I don't think it was done particularly poorly. I thought it was all right. It was all pretty cool. There was nothing really sort of. To be fair, I actually enjoyed that one more than the first one. I thought it was actually.
It was a very good episode.
Yeah, and that was paced really well as well. And it was actually, I think the storyline lent itself to a quick, short action thing, because it was very much like we need to get these guys off. They're going, we're gone.
Yeah,
and it fitted that. It fitted that timeline quite nicely from the story point of view. So.
Because with the Templars there, the White Templars, that there is this overall massive story going on. However, that's not the story we're telling today. This is the story we're telling today. The custode. I'm not sure if the custode was there. Like, obviously, Sister Silence was there.
Enforcement.
Were they there
to?
Basically go to the chapter master or the captain. Game over. We're gonna get off this planet and exterminate this planet, or was it to get the psychers, or was it like one? I don't know. Either way, doesn't really matter. But I was the custode, whatever her name was. I thought the animation was great. The character itself was like, because obviously it's the first representation of a female custode. I was like, yep, cool. You can barely tell any difference. The face is obviously feminine, but if you're going to be pumped with that many drugs, you're not going to be like, overly feminine.
No.
You're going to be pretty hench.
So
you got to go in there and do the stuff and carry the armor.
Okay.
But I thought it was great.
We do have a comment though, so I will read Rules Lawyers just for. He says, I am salty about the pandering and virtue signaling which has harmed franchise after franchise. I don't like retcons. There haven't always been female custodes. And ultimately, Rules Lawyer, if you read it before they made their announcement, I could have quite happily agreed with that. No problem at all. They're probably this may be a mechanism they're using to obviously go into that. What's it say? They missed an opportunity 14 years ago when AW first wrote Heretic and re-added custodes to the modern version of the law. I would have been, that is a fair point. I think this is what I was just leading into. I think the way that the whole thing has been done was probably not the best because it wasn't done in a subtle and law abiding manner. It was very much, oh, by the way, this is it. It was a throwaway statement on X, wasn't it? I think on Twitter.
Well,
at the time.
allegedly,
Yeah.
years ago, the Black Library law authors, there's several of them, wanted to put female custodes in the book, but at the time, GW were like, no, they're going to be male. We're not going to go down that route. So clearly, it's been on the back burner for a while. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like if it was Marines, I think a lot of people.
I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't be happy with Marines having that done.
No,
I think
a lot of people would be upset. Admittedly, fair enough, but I do feel the custodes and
the custodes are a weird one.
They haven't really been in fair enough to be in the law. In a lot of the time, in the law in the background, they haven't really. It's been very vague of what's been going on with custodes, and then they've kind of come forth in the last 10 years maybe. I have no idea. I'm not going to research it right now.
Well, it's mainly since the 30K storytelling. I think is when custodes have had a much more.
8 years.
I'll
take your word on that, rules lawyer. It's 8 years.
Yeah.
But like I said, if it was a different, if they were going to look overly feminine and look more like the Sisters of Battle, I would be a bit like, nah, I'm not overly keen on that. But I think because of who they are in the law, their representation in that animation, I think, was fitting to how they should be seen in that range.
And rules of that. You see, that is a fair point as well. I'm ultimately I'm not really, because it's custodes. I suppose it's not really something that's particularly I'm that bothered about. In all seriousness, it's I didn't, as Dom says, I don't know an awful lot about them. I haven't read an awful lot about them. And you are right. There are plenty of other opportunities that could be taken from Inquisition and also Sister Silence. Obviously, they had a Sister Silence in this, but it was that I would say they were playing kind of second fiddle.
She was definitely playing second fiddle.
And as I said, I honestly do think there were better ways that it could have been done initially. Because obviously, if you think about when the announcement was made, I'm pretty sure that this when they made the announcement, they'd obviously this has probably been in the works before then. So this was like we better put something out now so that people have a chance to get used to it. Because they're not stupid. They'd already made that decision to make that animation probably well before the announcement that they made on Twitter. So this was their way of preparing.
It's the old potato camera, isn't it?
And ultimately, I might get a lot of crap for just saying I'm not that bothered about it, but I really don't care, quite frankly. There's
absolutely. I mean, the thing is, like I said, it's not really our faction. We're not overly fussed.
Yeah. If
they had female Chaos Space Marines, in all honesty, I wouldn't really care. In the grand scheme, I will say that right now, because I'm pretty sure in one of the Fabius Bile books, there's a female Empress Children.
With Fabius Bile in the mix, anything could bloody happen. Because he's a nutter, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I
really, but then, however, and a bit like the female custodes, if you've got 1,000 custodes, 2 or 3 of them are women, I don't really care. But if you make it 500 and 500, I'd be like, proportionally, probably wouldn't be there.
No. Especially with the Chaos history, because ultimately most of them they are preceding that time of that war, and that's where most of them have come from. That's just the way that roll. And thanks, Rules. I completely agree. Honestly, I don't even I completely actually understand your point of view. I'm not even I don't basically I'm sitting on the fence and trying to support both sides, but ultimately because I don't really have a super entrenched opinion on this particular subject. Like I said, if it was Space Marine based, I probably wouldn't be too happy about it, because I think that would be a proper rip up the book and what the hell's going on here at GW, because that's just the way it rolls. But ultimately, everyone's entitled, as you say, everyone's entitled to their opinion. So just roll with it. I won't judge you either way. I think it's
absolutely.
It's nice to have the conversation, because that's unfortunately the talking about the way we do is much better than having an argument about it, because I don't want to argue about this, because it's just it's ridiculous, really, because it is toy soldiers and law. That's ultimately it. But I do think that I would be probably quite salty about a Space Marine retcon of that level. So I can get.
I think generally people would be very upset about Space Marines being female, because it's been done, and people are like, definitely male. Everyone says all male. And you've had, the female faction of Sisters of Battle for years. You've had female Eldar. You're getting glimpses of female Guard,
Yes.
which is cool. All brilliant, because he was like, I think in the old 3rd edition Codex, they had a whole female regiment.
Yeah.
So it's great, and I think Custodes, and Inquisition, of course. You can have female Inquisitors, blah 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 blah. And it's about, and I don't want to be super PC here, because like we're all from different backgrounds, we've all got different. But as a father of 2 daughters, and I'm trying to get them in the hobby, I want them. It's about representation.
Yeah.
And if it's really hard, like 40k is not a great place. And so my eldest will always go for the System of Battle, my youngest will go Necrons, whatever. But it's about representation one way or another. Like if you want to go the different route of race on Marines, there was a backlash about having a black Ultramarine. What's going on about that? And now, like, thank goodness everyone's past that.
Yeah.
But I think.
But and I think,
and like I said, it's not my faction. I don't really.
This is my point. So I think the bit that I think probably a lot of people get annoyed with is that there's quite a lot of factions in 40k. Okay, and if you want female representation, I think there are enough factions there for you to pick one that has female representation without having to change ones that exist in a certain manner. I suppose that's where I would look at it. I don't think they need to shoehorn it in, because I think that's the wrong way to go about it. The Guard one's a really good example, because actually, odd enough, obviously, I've been playing Space Marine 2, and as you're playing this game, you're hulking great Space Marine, you're walking past the Guard regiments in the game, and there's plenty of female represented Guardsmen in that as well.
Yeah.
They actually also have a really cool. They have like the first one. They went with a female like major as the commander of the Cadian 8th. And that was pretty cool. But they did that right. It looked the part. It looked great.
Yeah.
And it worked. And as you're going through it, there's you can tell just by looking at the ranks that it's sprinkled. Because the one thing you can say about the Imperium and the Guard is equal opportunities.
Yeah, there is.
Everyone has an equal opportunity to die. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no, I can't see an issue.
Yeah.
But once again, not my faction.
No. And like I said, rules are absolutely fine, mate. I said, from my point of view, is I think the way it was done was pretty dumb, because it shouldn't have just been a throwaway line in a social media platform. If they wanted to do it, they should have done it properly and actually put in some legwork on the back of the lore and explained where they can. Yeah, and at the end of the day, they probably would have got the same reaction, but people would have had something to read while being angry.
People would have had the same reaction.
So
like, you can't win.
No,
like in all honesty, whatever they would have done, I can't think of a single way they could have done it, and people would have gone, "Oh, actually, you've got a very valid point, Games Workshop. Bring them in." But yeah, I think it's room to do what they want, really. It still respect the IP and kind of the fan base. But I kind of look at it this way, where you look at Doctor Who, for instance. And I'm not going to go about it all, but I'm going to say they retcon their stuff constantly.
Oh, yeah.
And they're constantly changing it, and people are still like, "Oh well, never mind. It's it is what it is."
I think the thing about Doctor Who now is
MacGuffins or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you can have the MacGuffins where you go, "Oh, that's going to help the plot along. We'll use that."
I think the thing about Doctor Who though is a good example is the fact that I think every time the Doctor changes, I think they're always going to piss off one camp of the Doctor Who fan base, regardless of what they do, because people aren't going to like certain things that happen, or certain lead actors, or whatever, or I suppose it is actors anyway. Actress is not a term now, is it? Actor is the key term now, isn't it? Because obviously they went. Obviously, the last two were quite big changes in Doctor Who kind of, I suppose, lore in a way. Oh God, don't say what a festering. But yeah, and by the way, rules. For me, I'm not a fan of Doctor Who at the moment, but I would.
We're going to him. He's going to be very angry at the moment.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, when they do the next iteration of whoever it is, I might suddenly like that iteration of it. But I found that with all of them, every time they do a recast or a redirection of the show, I'll either go, not really interested in this, and I'll switch it off for a season or two until something changes. I'll go back and go, actually, this is not too bad now. I mean, but ultimately, I think Doctor Who. The funny thing about Doctor Who is, I think when you're growing up, you watch a particular one, you get quite attached to it, and then when that one goes, you don't feel that kind of connection with it anymore. I think that's because honestly, the David Tennant and Matt Smith years for me were my favourites, to be fair. And and since then I haven't really got drawn back into that kind of engagement. I used to watch it sort of every week. So
yeah, I think Doctor Who, for instance, like I've watched the last one, the last series that came out, and I found this in the previous ones as well, where you get a whole series and there will be 2 episodes which are really good. The rest of the episodes,
that's it.
just like, what's going on?
And that,
the Doctor's like, for instance, a new actor. He's really good. I thought he actually, to be fair, as a Doctor, I thought he's a good Doctor. But
I liked his introduction.
Jodie Whittaker. The writing is just
hit and miss.
Not good.
Hit and miss.
It's not great. Yeah. So I think,
and that's where I think.
Anyway, the point was you bring up a MacGuffin and you're like, right, that's how it goes in there. And I think the problem is with this one, like you said, they're probably doing the animation for it. Went, this is what we want. They had it in the codex. Someone leaked the codex. Then they had to kind of go a bit of like putting plasters on what happened. Yeah. And I think whatever way, like I said, it wouldn't have. No one would be happy.
Yeah, but it is and ultimately, I do agree to a certain extent that in this day and age, there's a lot of things that have changed which people which isn't done very well, because I think change that's not done well is always open for just pissing people off. Quite frankly, I'm a fairly open-minded kind of person, really. But I do have things that do tickle my anger bone sometimes, and but ultimately I try to be accepting possible. But there are things where I'm like, come on, do you have to go down this road, really? Come on.
Everyone's entitled to their views.
Good actor, badly written. Jodie Whittaker, great actress, dog shit, right? Yes. Because funny with the Jodie Whittaker one, actually, as Dom says, I quite liked a couple of episodes they had in there. But ultimately, I found the overall series was just it just didn't really work. I enjoyed it.
I think she had a good cast with her. I thought the sidekicks, I quite like them, and her. But
was Lee Mack in that one, wasn't he, as well? Was Lee Mack in her one?
No, it was what's his face.
Oh, I've forgotten his damn name. It's not Lee Mack. It was. I don't know why I said him. It's the
Lee Mack could have been quite good though.
I know. I was just thinking that's why I think it is. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I know who you mean now, and I've got his face in my head, but I cannot remember his name. He's the other.
TV presenter guy.
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up now. Who we got here? Graham O'Brien, Ryan Sinclair, Jack. No, that's the actual names, isn't it? In a second. We're now all looking for the.
Everyone look! Everyone look! Bradley Walsh.
That's Bradley Walsh. That was it. I quite like Bradley Walsh in it. Personally.
Bradley Walsh.
I think he was quite good in it. To be fair.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Bradley Walsh? Find out in a minute.
Yeah, Rules Lawyer is definitely going to say something.
Yeah. Bloody Bradley Walsh. No, not Walshy. Not Walshy.
But yeah. Well, there we go. We've had a lot of controversy tonight, so that's going well. Good, excellent. Sorry if we've gone down this tangent, everyone. Anyway, in some other news, so as Don was talking about buying the Combat Patrol magazine, he got his captain on. So I've actually decided to try the subscription out this year. So I've actually signed up for the premium subscription to see how it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm quite excited to see all the stuff I get with it. I was actually because essentially what I think I was saying to our friend group that they were sort of, oh, that sounds expensive. I said yeah, it is expensive, but actually I haven't really been buying models recently because there's been nothing that I've been trying to cut down what I buy before and making sure that I'm kind of getting through stuff I've got and painting it and getting it done so that I'm not ending up with piles of grey models over there. And actually, I thought this is actually a really good way of doing it. And so I budget. I'm sure, I don't know how you guys do it, but I tend to budget X amount of stuff for hobby every month, and I have a number of pounds per month I allocate to it, and I try and stick to it. Sometimes I do better than other months, yeah, as we all do. You know, it's just the way it rolls. Sometimes you see something very shiny that you want, and you go, oh, I'll have that right now.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it was £47 a month for the premium subscription when you add all the edition copies together. But then when I saw with the premium one, obviously you get chucked in those those nice models, and what I actually thought would be quite cool about it would be to start getting an introduction to all of the armies in 40k that I hadn't. Some of them I haven't actually touched for many years. Give them a chance to paint them. I've decided on a couple that I'm just not going to bother with because I know I'm not interested. So like the guard stuff, I'm actually going to give to Dom when it gets through because he'll get much more use and probably enjoyment out of it than I will. And with Vicky, World Eaters will go to her as well because I'm not going to start a World Eater army because she does one. So if I really want to play World Eaters, I'll just borrow some models for a day.
Lock her away,
yeah,
and use her models.
Exactly, precisely. But I'm quite excited to see things like the Votan. Give them a go. I'm actually interested in playing Eldar on their combat patrol. Should be quite interesting. Not played Eldar for many a year. Obviously, I want to. So I collect Night Lords sort of kind of casually, I suppose. Now it's not really been a key because I'm not really quite sure what I want to do with them. However, there's a nice Chaos contingent there which will go nice with my Night Lords as well. So I'm going to give them.
Yeah.
And there's a Demon Prince that comes with it. Look quite cool. The new Demon Prince is one of the premium models that you get. So I want to give it. And actually, I actually really like the new Demon Prince model personally.
It's a nice model.
It does look very nice. Also, you get another. So Brutalis Dreadnought will be coming through as well, part of the Marine. So I'm going to add another one to it because I love Dreadnoughts. So that's perfect. I get 2 Brutalis Dreadnoughts in.
No, not another one.
I've really been enjoying using them. I was actually.
Was it happening in the last game we played with your Brutalis?
Yes, yeah, we did. Yeah,
I remember what. We did really well though, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it charged into your.
What was it doing? It was just eating people.
I think you were just having trouble taking the. Oh, that's what. Yes, that's what. Yeah, it was.
My executioner.
That was it. Yes. Yeah, just yeah. That's it. I remember. Yeah, because it also went into Angron quite nicely and took him down to 4 wounds.
Oh, you played Vicky, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, me and Vicky had a game.
Do you want to go about your game then, Tom? Because normally I'm talking about my games. I haven't played anyone this week.
Well, yeah, we just played
about your game.
So we played 1,000 points. Actually, we also used the because I finally got this through the Prior Nexus book. Cards, I should say. And actually, I'm going to say to you guys, I was pleasantly surprised with this one. I think they've really upped the quality on the writing of the rules in the game. As in, so actually, I've got the cards behind me here. I'll see if I'll try and pull out a couple of examples. So, well, firstly, I'm just going to put this paintbrush around. I'm not getting any paint done right now. I'm talking too much. So obviously, you get your fold out card here with the instructions on it on how to do, how to play a game. And I actually say it's gotten a lot clearer in how it's written and also laid out. I think they might actually be learning how to write rules properly.
No, I refuse to hear that, Thomas.
Because you can literally pick up and play with this, for the rules of a battle that is all here properly. I think quite well written out. And they've gone into a great deal, like as an example for the actions. They've got a whole section of actions here now. And on top of that, with the actions, if I just find one in here, not that one. Here we go. Need the secondary missions here. So here's like extend battle lines. Here's an example. This wasn't that confusing in the first place, to be honest. But you get the breakdown of each type of which victory points you can score based on what you get, and it's much more clear because before I think it was all written in a single block of text, and I think I think for people that didn't understand the 2 sections of it. But here's another. Recover assets is a really good example. So you get this is the card here, and as you can see here, it details the action you need to perform actually on the card properly, when you can do it, who can do it, when it completes, and if it completes, and then tells you what you get for those criteria. So that's my review on them, and I know I think you've played a couple of games with these now as well, Dom. So,
yeah, much prefer it.
It just reads better. I think the only thing I've got a slight gripe about is I don't know why they're insisting on doing these weird deployment zones. I mean, I'll just show you some of these. I mean, there's one as an example. Sweeping engagement.
Nice.
It's a bizarre layout, and same with this one, a tipping point, which is basically the same thing but on the lengthways board. However, I am very happy to finally see. I don't know if you noticed the subtle difference on these, Don. By the way, the
What's that,
deployment
sorry?
zones.
Oh, yeah, you actually got the distance on
They're
there.
actually marked on the card rather than going. Well,
Yeah.
you can work this out. And also,
Yeah.
I
Use
noticed
your skills.
I've noticed they've made they've made them deeper as well. They've added 2 inches onto them because it used to be 10 inches on the Dawn of War. It's now
Yep.
12.
I think it's clearly a sign, Tom, that they want us combat armies to
Well,
flourish.
yeah. And obviously they've also snuck in these secret mission things as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which I haven't tried, so I can't really comment. I think it's supposed to help people that are losing a game to swing it down.
If you're down on
basically.
the primaries, you can do that. I mean, I'm
just looking at it now.
I've done it. I've taken it once for one of them, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to achieve it. But I do think a lot of them are very achievable, depending on your state of play when you get to that point in the game, and you get, oh, actually, I can do this, or I can't do this.
Well, like Unbroken Wall is quite a good one. You control 3 or more objective markers that are not within your deployment zone. I mean, if you've had a really poor just controlling game, but you can jump on those, those last bits, and you can punt a 20 victory point swing in your favour. I think that's quite a nice way to make up those points. So it may or may not work for you, as you said. Another simple one here is command insertion. So your warlord is within range of 1 or more objective markers in your opponent's deployment zone. If you can get your commander over there, and you feel you can do it, it's worth a shot. Because there's plenty of abilities in the game that you can use to manipulate the movement. So,
plus, I quite like the idea that your warlord is actually important for something.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just.
Or it's like, who's your warlord? Doesn't really matter, does it? Like 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, actually, do you know what? Here's a really good example of a cleaned up one: Scorched Earth. That's the one where you burn the objectives. And I remember when we read that one, Dom, in the old one, it was like, what? Does that which one can I burn when?
Oh
what?
yeah.
Is it that one? And obviously here it now makes it exceptionally clear on who, when, and where. So there you go. So yeah, if you haven't tried the new Pariah cards or the missions types, I'd definitely give them a go. It might invigor your gameplay. But yeah, me and Vicky had a really good game. She was playing. We just did 1,000 points because Vicky hasn't sort of played kind of seriously for a little while, so we thought we'd just ease back into it a little bit. So we thought we'd just do 1,000 points, kind of the incursion style, but just playing with the cards. We had a really good game. Vicky actually did win, although she did casually mention at the end of the game that she shouldn't have because she was cheating. So.
Did she still claim the win though?
Even
though she mentioned I shouldn't have won. See, it sounds like she said she did still win. I shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
Because I'm still claiming it.
It's one of those ones because Angron shouldn't have been able to move as fast as she was moving him.
Oh, really?
Because he was down to 1 wound, and he managed to secure something at the end, which was worth quite a few victory points. But he wouldn't actually have been able to get there. So it was just. And I said,
come back?
No, because he didn't die. He was on 1 wound to the end.
Just wounded him.
Yeah. Because I played. Do you know what, Dom? I played. My list I played against you with all the Terminators. I managed to play that in 1,000 points list without all the battle line. I got all the Terminators in.
I think we looked at it a little while ago, didn't we?
And do you know what? It was really good fun because it was like, oh, you're actually having trouble killing all these units. They actually stay around for a very long time, as you probably noticed, because they're quite hard to chop through. I've now fallen in love with the assault Terminators with Thunderhammers and Shields, even though they don't have a massive damage output. But because they've got 4 wounds, toughness 5, they are actually. I'm treating them more as a tank rather than a killer. That's what they do. Oh,
yeah, it's like that one that you might want to chuck in the middle.
I just deep struck them at the back.
Yeah,
and they're walking around. It's like, oh, I've got to deal with them, and they're like, I can't really shoot them unless I've got something very high strength, with lots of damage because they just don't tend to die. So what I am going to be doing with these guys is when I when I get the Marine set in the magazine, I am going to try a shield transposition with a Thunderhammer and see what it looks like because I'm curious. Because I think I've got some Thunderhammers in some of my old Black Templar kits that I can use as a larger version because they're Primaris ones, so that should work. Vicky says here, I should have subtracted from his hit. Yes, you should have also subtracted from his hit roll. Correct.
Oh right, was he still buffing people up?
Yes, yeah. That was which is a bit cheeky, but it's fine. It's all good. It's all good. We were just having a fun game. I really wasn't that bothered about the score. You know, it's just trying to make sure that you can play the game properly, get the phases right, learn how the your army works, all that kind of good stuff. Because ultimately, if you haven't played for a while, it can be quite daunting to get back into it. Because I think it's easier nowadays because I do. It's one of those things. It's a blessing and a curse. This is a lot of the rules now spoon fed to you and set in a certain way that you can't really customize them anymore. Which, as I said, it's a blessing and a curse. It gives you less options to customize, but makes it easier for someone to walk in and go, oh, okay, I just got to look at this card and it tells me everything I need to do. And no matter which one I put on the table, I can play with that. That's done. I said, yeah, that's it. And and that it's a counterbalance because there. I know there's some people in chat right now which will probably be on the side of I want a bit more customization, and I completely understand that as well. Because I think the bit that annoys me now, it's actually more with the list building. When you hit a certain points level and you want to try and get that perfect 2000 or whatever it is you're trying to get, you can't just go, oh, I'll put one of these on my thingy and I'll put this on here and chuck the points around a little bit, because you are you're stuck in a certain method of building that list.
Yeah, when you got your 2000 points, it used to be I'll just add that in. I think normally if you want to try and put a particular unit in, so you get to like 1900, and you got to put in a unit that's 110 points or something, like or maybe let's say 150. Sometimes you just have to wiggle things around and you take away maybe 2 units that you didn't want to take away to put that one in. And then there is a bit of a wriggle room. I mean, getting spot on 2000, I haven't really had a problem with that, but you do end up kind of regretting some things. You're like, oh well, I wish I wish
I was able to get that in here. I wish I was able. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm not super fussed about it. It's just I find list building can be slightly more restrictive and difficult to get to perfect numbers. Although obviously with the enhancements it does help a little bit, because sometimes now I do find myself missing that. Either I think they've made the enhancements purposely like 10, 15, 20, 30 points as options, because that's what you normally are missing at the end of a list. So you
I'll put you look at it, don't you?
Yeah. You
go,
oh, put an
I think the simplicity of it, I mean, however simplistic it is, and it is simplistic to kind of get in, because you might not have played for one edition, and if you've got the cards, like we had a couple of weeks ago, you have the cards, you can probably pick it up quite quickly.
Yeah.
However, you're going to make mistakes. Like I make mistakes. Someone coming back into it makes mistakes. It's like it just happens. You just need to keep playing and playing and playing, and then you get back into the train of the swing of it. But like Angron stuff as well, I was just like, oh yeah, you're right, Vicky. Yeah, he does degrade, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because normally, to be fair, someone shoots my Angron, he tends to die very quickly. You don't get a chance to degrade.
To be fair, it was one of those things. The problem I had with Angron was I didn't have a lot of high strength shooting weapons. The Terminators had their missiles.
Yeah, Terminators aren't going to be doing much.
And ultimately, even if you shoot all the bolters in the world at that man, he just does not drop. So it's just the way it rolls. And friendly Britain Quizter, that's all right, mate. If you're late, doesn't matter. If you still popped in, that's always much appreciated. We are here for you to listen to us, and I'm sure you've hit the like button already, knowing you, right?
He's such a team player.
He's a team player.
I am still dry brushing my little planes, by the way.
Very nice.
They're pretty cool.
You haven't? Well, you bet. Come on now. I want to see that. It needs to go up. Come on. There you go. 4 likes. There you go. Look at
that. What are you going to do with these people?
Yeah. Well, we'll because I think also game things. We were talking about this the other day as well, actually, because game length is quite an interesting one. We discovered, obviously, when we did the stream last week. I think both of us were very tired at the end of the night in the end. And we don't mind doing a live stream, but actually on a weeknight it's quite getting a 2,000 point game in a 2 to 3 hour window is actually quite difficult.
Bring back Kill Team.
Yeah.
When the new Kill Team comes out, I think the Kill Team's the perfect thing for that kind of thing.
We probably should just pick something a little bit more friendly to the stream length, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, smaller points are fine. Um, but I think also when we do smaller points, 1,000 points, a battlefield, I don't know, maybe reduce the battlefield. But I
Yeah.
think
No, no, no.
things like
We yeah.
Kill Team or skirmish games, especially, like maybe not the first game of Kill Team, maybe
No, that
like
was a
playing
bit.
a bit
We tried.
before we.
We gave that. That didn't. I think they didn't have the rules down in the first edition. I think there was some
Mm.
very. It was actually more complex to play than 40k. I thought, but the last one I played wasn't too bad. I haven't really picked it up since we had that small session a little while ago. And Vicky, a
Mm.
weekend game. Yes, weekend games. Me and Dom were hopefully going to have a weekend game. So we actually said that straight after. We said we should try and do a weekend game where we not just, but obviously we don't tend to live stream the weekend games. So I mean, we could do.
Yeah, give
We
it a
could
go
do a live
sometime.
stream over the weekend. But admittedly,
Yeah.
the battery life on my
Oh, they're on the edge,
mobile
weren't
mics
they?
were on the edge at the end of that stream because they do have a pretty good battery life. But I think I would feel much more comfortable if I bought a second set for a backup before we did that because I think I can actually add
Could
up
have a
to
half-time break.
yeah
We could have a half-time break, Tom. Bit
yeah
like football. We just call it after the
yeah
end of two
exactly.
turns.
We do a
Have a
Saturday
half-time
stream
break.
once a
Yep.
month maybe where we can also have so. But the funny thing is, obviously, I've got these because, as you know, I'm hoping going to be moving house next year, hopefully, and I have these interesting ideas for a streaming room, which I do have to get past Vicky first. We'll see what happens there. But I've got this vision of having a nice widescreen telly on the wall that we're looking at while we're playing. That we have all the chat and the stream up and stuff like that we can see while we're playing to make it really kind of easy to
Yep.
sort of engage with the player base. Because I think the problem we've got in here is that we're constantly looking over my shoulder to look at the screen and manage the stream at the same time, which can be a bit challenging. I've got the buttons and everything for it, but it's more the placement of where I can put them to make it work. So we're not sort of struggling to do two things at once because playing a game,
Yeah.
managing a stream, having a chat it's nice if
Bit
it's all
taxing.
on one big screen that's visible because poor old Dom is normally standing on the other side of the room. He's having to sort of look over. I zoom it all the way in, but his eyesight's not as good as it used to be. So it's.
Well, according to these planes, it's not.
So yeah, I hope we can do that. What's this rule slide? The next thing I am salty about. Oh, hang on a minute. Here we go.
Oh,
This is salty about is all the generic teams being removed from the new edition of Kill Team. No more tactical marines, generic guards. Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. They're going to the actual specialist one, so it turns out a bit more like
Right.
Blood Bowl kind of thing, I suppose,
Okay.
where you've got named kill teams. And what did they say the other day? They're going to cycle them out after so long as well.
Oh, okay.
So, for instance, if you had one that's ruling the meta for so long, I think they only last for so long, and then
Oh,
they're cycled out.
okay. They've tried to change it into more of like I suppose, a card collection kind of thing where that you'll collect a team of which is a set of cards or whatever for a team, and eventually
Oh, hang
they'll
on, no, sorry. Yeah, so they cycle them out. You can still use them, but in a competitive event, you cannot use them.
gotcha.
I believe that's correct. So that, yeah, if it was ruling the meta, they would last for
Interesting.
2-3 years, and they would cycle that one out. However, the rules would still be supported, bit legendified, which is fine
Yeah.
because it depends what you want from Kill Team.
Yeah.
From my point of view, I prefer it gives you a good base for narrative,
Mm.
so you can do these little things.
To be fair, having played Space Marine 2 as PC, that is played in a very Kill Team-esque manner because you play as a squad of 3 Marines that are doing certain jobs on the battlefield, and that I see that as quite a cool narrative kind of thing. You know, you have to go and drop a statue on a hive tyrant as an example on a bridge. Yeah. Using explosives, and it's like a 3-man team fighting through a horde. And I see that's how I see Kill Team. It's like doing little missions against certain
Yeah, because they're
aspects.
meant to be the elite of the elite,
Yes,
which
exactly.
is
Yeah.
how it should be. Which is that's what draws me to Kill Team. But yeah, I think they're cycling them out of
Okay.
competitive play. So I suppose it kind of makes people play more Kill
I
Team.
can as
They
with the
want to
usual, I
play
can
the
see why it
competitive
would
side of
annoy
it.
some people, especially if they've got quite attached to collecting a certain thing or wanting to play a certain way. Yeah, because obviously accessibility is it's quite an easy thing for Kill Team because obviously you can pick up any of your existing balls and go there we go, job done. I suppose you can still do that and just call it that Kill Team as long as there's not special modelling requirements that they need to look a certain way. That should be fine. But yeah,
I think there is still obviously there will be the requirements for particular models, etc. However, like we were saying before, it does give you the conversion possibility that you can convert them to have
See,
whatever.
he looks like he should be in a kill team. You see, Tom. So
He does look like a kill team.
he should be there. He should be leading a kill team.
Mm, should be. Be in there, hacking people up. Yeah, so I think we'll see what happens with Kill Team. They're still releasing the rules and stuff, so it'd be interesting what happens. But yeah.
But it started as a spin-off to the main game, and the generic teams don't have Legends rules. It hurts player choice and accessibility, and your ability to tell stories with your models.
Do that.
Oh my god! I've got them there knocking around somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Still done. Yeah.
Kill Team one.
Oh, we should do another one of them.
That's when we went up. That was when it was generic.
Oh
that was,
god!
Generic Kill Team when it was. I think when it went up there, I had a veteran guard squad in a Chimera.
Yeah.
So
I think I did.
Yeah, no.
I think I did great. I think I did Grey Knights. I think I did Grey Knight. I actually did.
Yeah, there was a Grey Knight.
I did a specific Grey Knight kill. I made one up especially for it. I even modelled all the little things on the bases to make them understand what the feats they had were, whether they were perk things they had back in the day. You know. And
however, how long ago was that?
Oh, that was over 10 years ago.
The thing is way over 10 years.
Yeah, I was going to
say.
say.
We went to that event, the Riptide had just come out.
That's it. The first because they didn't.
Riptide had just come out,
and they hadn't banned it from the event. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a
and the Riptide. There was Riptide teams everywhere.
I think it was teams 1 to 7.
Yeah, it was couldn't kill a Riptide.
Yeah. It's like that. Yeah. And I'd say that's probably where they've got a lot better with those kind of things because I think that wouldn't happen nowadays. I don't think because it's not something you can put in a kill team now. Is it a Riptide? I think that's
exactly. But yeah, I remember that, and looking back at it now, like we complain a bit about like what the balance and stuff is at the moment. But
back in
that was atrocious.
Back in those days, especially like when you think like I think 7th was always the one that gave me balance nightmares. You know, there were certain armies in 7th which just had, if you saw if you saw you were playing against that army, you're like, well, I'll try and enjoy the game at least. That's basically what that's what you went to the table with in your head. Whereas now I do actually genuinely feel I have as they say, a puncher's chance against most armies. You kind of, I feel like, well, if things go all right, I might, I actually feel now it's more down to my skill level
than
the army level now, because I think they've really been pushing the balance for. Obviously, this isn't the competitive scene. When you're playing Legends, I don't even care what happens during the battlefield. It's just fun. You just bring what you want, play what you want, whatever. I don't care. But when you actually do go to a competitive event, you do want that kind of chance to go, I've got a 50-50 chance of winning. I do think it's admirable they're striving for that competitive scene to get to a 50-50 point, because it
absolutely.
Of course, some people might also argue that, well, you're making it difficult for people that don't play very well. But at the same time, I don't think that if you don't play particularly well, I don't think the competitive scene's probably your target area of playing personally. There's plenty of other events out there that work. Because you've got I think you've got a team one coming up. Is it this month or next month?
Next month, I think.
Is it October, isn't it?
Yeah.
I missed out on that one. Sad face. Only 3-player teams.
Yeah, well,
boo-hoo.
I'll win it. I'll win it for us.
If you win it without me, then I can't play again.
All of it. Oh crap!
It's clearly my fault.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could be
Paul's playing. We'll be fine.
Okay. He'll find where lose a landslide.
Yeah. What happened?
Oh dear me. All right. Well, anyway, I think we can probably I think that's probably a good point to wrap it up there. I think. So yeah, thank you all very much for listening as usual, guys. Obviously, please pop along next week. Hopefully, we'll be streaming next week. I can't think of a reason we won't be at the moment, but you never know. Obviously, if you like what you heard tonight, or if you didn't like it, leave a comment. We'll take the rough with the smooth, as they say. So
go for it. Let us know your opinions.
Let us know your opinions on anything we spoke about tonight, because it's always I like a good discussion. As long as it's a discussion and it's not an outright row, that's perfect. That's how I look at it. Everyone can disagree or agree. I don't really care, but as long as you're not ripping shreds out of each other and having a conversation. All right.
Absolutely.
So there. Anyway, on that note, I have been Tom, and this has been
Tom.
And we're both from Blacktown Studio. It's been lovely to speak to you all, and we will catch you on the next one. Goodbye!
Toodaloo! Do, 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 do.